A very good day to all of you. In the lesson today, let us talk about paraphrasing and summarizing and learn how to rewrite and shorten text in your own words. First of all, what is paraphrasing? Paraphrasing is rewriting a sentence or passage or paragraph in your own words while you have to keep the same meaning as the original version, the original sentence, passage, or paragraph. Why do we paraphrase? We normally paraphrase because we want to avoid plagiarism so that we can write different from the original version of the sentence or passage or paragraph. We want to show our understanding of the passage, and then we want to make complex ideas simpler, easier for people to understand, and easier for us to understand during revision. So, how to paraphrase? There are several ways or strategies that we can use to paraphrase. The first one would be change the words, or we call these as synonyms. Synonyms are different words with the same meaning. So we can use synonyms, different words with the same meanings, to replace with the original words in the original text, a sentence or paragraph or passage. However, we have to keep in mind that since we are paraphrasing, we have to maintain the meaning of the original sentence, although we use different words. So let us take a look at the example here. So the original sentence says, many students find exams stressful. So you can take a look at the paraphrase sentence. Numerous learners feel anxious about tests. So you can see here that the word many has been changed to a synonym numerous, and the word students has been changed to a synonym learners, find to feel, exams to test, stressful to anxious. So you can see that the words are different because we are using synonym. However, the meaning of both sentences, the paraphrase version and the original version, is still the same, is still retained and maintained. So that is the first strategy, which is using synonyms. The second way, the second strategy to paraphrase is to change the sentence structure. How do you change the sentence structure of a sentence in a paragraph, in a passage? So you can change from active to passive or passive to active. If the original sentence is in active, then you can change to passive. If the original sentence is in passive, then you can change to active. The chef cooked a delicious meal. This is an active sentence because the chef is the subject. When the subject does something, for example, in this case, the chef cook, so the chef is active because he or she is doing something, which is cooking a delicious meal. So this sentence is active because the subject is active. So when the sentence is active, you can change to passive. So this is how you change the sentence structure when you paraphrase. So when you change to passive, it becomes a delicious meal was cooked or was prepared by the chef. So in this case, the object, which is the delicious meal, in the end of the sentence, you put in front of the sentence. And the chef, which is the subject, in front of the sentence, you put in the end of the sentence. And then you add the word by. So the chef cooked a delicious meal. Now it becomes a delicious meal was cooked by the chef. So now you can see that a delicious meal, the object now becomes the subject. The chef, the object, now become the subject, now becomes the object. So this is the passive version of the original sentence. So delicious meal now becoming a subject is passive because the delicious meal doesn't do anything. The delicious meal was being cooked by the chef. Because the delicious meal doesn't do anything, just being cooked by the chef, delicious meal, the subject is passive. So because it is passive, the subject is passive, this whole sentence is a passive sentence, or we call it as a voice, passive voice. So one way to paraphrase is to change the sentence structure from active to passive or passive to active. And you can do this easily using applications or browsers in the internet, where you can enter the original sentence in active or passive, and then you can turn the sentence into active or passive easily using those platforms. However, you have to make sure that your grammar is correct and the meaning of the original sentence is sustained. So you cannot have a different meaning from the original sentence. The other way, or the third strategy to paraphrase, is to break long sentences into shorter ones. If you have a longer sentence, you can break the long sentence into several short sentences. So this is another way to change the sentence structure, other than active to passive or passive to active. Or if you have shorter sentences, to paraphrase, you can combine the shorter sentences into one long sentence. So let us take a look at the example here. Although the weather was rainy, we decided to go hiking because we had already planned the trip for weeks and didn't want to cancel it. In the paraphrase version, you can see one long sentence has been broken into three shorter sentences. The weather was rainy, however, we went hiking. We had planned the trip for weeks, so we didn't cancel it. So this is another way to paraphrase, which is by breaking long sentences into shorter ones. So you can combine all of these strategies. You can combine all of these strategies using synonyms, changing the sentence structure, and breaking long sentences into one whole strategy when you do paraphrasing. So you don't just simply have to pick and choose. You can combine like two strategies together, or all the three strategies together whenever you think is possible. If it is not possible, then one of or two strategies can be applied instead of all of the strategies. So in the combined strategies here, in the original sentence, we can see that social media allows people to connect with friends, but it can also reduce face-to-face communication. In the paraphrase version, you can see that while platforms like Facebook allow users to stay in touch, they might reduce in-person interactions. So you can see that the word social media has been changed to platforms, synonyms. The word connect has been changed to stay in touch. The word people has been changed to synonyms, users, and face-to-face becomes in-person, communication becomes interaction. So those are the synonyms, different words with same meanings. You can also see in terms of the sentence structure. In terms of the sentence structure, do you think it is similar from the original sentence? So in this case, it is a little different. So we have to know that for paraphrasing, so the strategies that we can do to paraphrase a sentence or a passage or a paragraph is to change the words, to change the sentence structure, and also to break long sentences. So you can see some more examples over here. Many students find exams stressful. In a paraphrase version where you use synonyms, different words with the same meaning, numerous learners feel anxious about tests. Change the sentence structure. The chef cooked a meal. A meal was cooked by the chef. Break long sentences. Although it rained, we hike. So you break into two sentences. It rained, however, we hike. So I hope so far you can understand what is paraphrasing and how to paraphrase. Next, let us take a look at summarizing. What is summarizing? Summarizing is shortening a text to only the most important points in your own words. It is slightly similar to paraphrasing, but the main idea of summarizing is a little different. Summarizing is when you want to shorten the text, make it shorter by combining all the main points only, so that we know what the main ideas, the main points are without reading a longer text. So a summary is useful for you to do revision of a longer text or a longer speech, or for you to do a group work where you can share what you have read from a longer article. When you make a summary, you can share the summary with your group members, so they don't have to spend a lot of time from reading a longer article, but just by reading your summary, they can understand a longer article in a shorter time. So why do we summarize? As I've mentioned, to save time from reading everything, a longer book or passages, to focus on the key ideas, the key points, or the main ideas or the main points only, without reading the detail of the explanation. And then we want to explain a long text briefly in simple words, easier to understand, and save more time from reading a longer article. So how do we summarize? So let us take a look at the sample here. So let's say we have an original paragraph. So what does it say? Regular exercise has many benefits. It improves heart health by making the heart stronger. It reduces stress by releasing endorphins, which make you feel happy. It also helps maintain a healthy weight by burning calories. Doctors recommend at least 30 minutes of exercise daily. So when we are summarizing, we have to identify the main points, or we also call it as key points, or main ideas or key ideas. What are the main points? In this case, the benefits of regular exercise are the main points. What are the benefits? So you can see here, heart health, improve heart health. The second point is reduce stress. And the third point is maintain a healthy weight. So we have three main points here. So when you summarize this paragraph, you just simply take the main points without the explanation or examples. So just take a look at the summarized version over here in the third box. Exercise improves heart health, reduce stress, and helps control weight. Doctors advise 30 minutes daily. So it is shorter than the original paragraph, the original passage. Can you do this with a longer article? So remember, when we paraphrase, that means we rewrite in our own words. It can be the same length, can be a little shorter, or maybe a little longer. You can summarizing means shorten to main ideas. You simply pick the main ideas and you combine all the main ideas in one sentence or in one paragraph, if let's say you are reading a longer article. However, you have to make sure that you need to always keep the original meaning, because that is the point. We paraphrase, we summarize because we want to use our own words but still retain the same meaning from the original text. So paraphrasing must be the same length as the original. Can be slightly shorter, can be slightly longer. But summarizing, it has to be shorter, because the point of summarizing is you want to write a summary. Summary is shorter than the original text. For paraphrasing, you keep all the details. For summarizing, you keep only the main points. For paraphrasing, you use different words like synonyms. For summarizing, you may use different words as well. Therefore, that is all about the lesson today. Thank you very much. See you again next time.